We all have that uncle who is a straight shooter who doesn't mince his words and always just gets to the point. Our guest for tonight is a spirit medium, Daniel Jackson. He's your uncle that says it as he sees it. And yes, he's seen a few peculiar things. I just have a trigger warning. There will be a joke about the religious faith that might be offensive to others. We talked to Daniel about his experiences as a medium, his thoughts on hell, and he tells us what his archangels look like. Merry Christmas, everyone. Enjoy. Good morning for me and good evening for our guest. Our guest today is for me particularly very special because he got in touch with us through Facebook. Our guest is a spirit medium, Daniel, and the first thing that you said when I listened to some of your episodes and your guestings was this struck me particularly hard because when you said for people like you with abilities to find your people. And you said you have to find your people around the world and you talk with them and you learn from them. And why did you say that? When did you start to realize that you have to find your people?
Probably within my first year of going through this particular journey. Um, because before that, I was just a regular guy who I saw spirit everywhere all the time. I would tell people, but I mean, I didn't know I had this ability to actually, communicate with them, all that stuff. But I would equate this to for someone who is, I know this is going to sound funny, uh, but it's like someone who is coming out of the closet, someone who is gay.
Yeah.
It's the same type of thing. You're coming out, admitting to people, this is what I am, this is what I do. And when I did that, I lost a lot of friends.
Yes.
A lot of the people who were around me just didn't want to be around me for either their religious beliefs or just their regular beliefs. And or I found out a lot of people who don't understand this, they fear what they don't understand. So yeah, I lost a lot of people, probably I'd say maybe three quarters of my friends. But
Wow.
after finding that out, I found out they weren't really my friends in the first place.
Yes.
Because your friends are the people who surrounded by you, surround themselves with you and you them, because they understand you, they get you, and they're okay with who you are. The one thing I never do is I tell people I never apologize for being me. Because if I'm going to offend you, then that means I only have to deal with you once and you're going to go away. So after that, I don't have to deal with you anymore.
Yeah.
Because the people who want to be around you are going to be around you, like I said, because they like you and they accepting of you. So if I'm going to talk the stuff that I talk, they have to be okay with that. So yeah, it took me probably within that first year to find out who my people were.
At what age were you when you kind of accepted to do it, to come out with it?
I was right. It was right before I turned 50 years old.
Okay. To give you an idea also, the people we talk to have all remained, well, maybe two or three people who, maybe people your age, who have come out with this ability also. And they practice it here in the Philippines. But 80% of the people we talk to, they remain anonymous because the same thing. They're afraid of me. I remain, I remain anonymous. The same fear that you have before that people will ostracize you for your beliefs and for what you've been seeing. But yeah, so a lot of people who've been telling us their stories, we have to change their names. We have to bleep out certain details because they will be traced and people and relatives and friends will do the same to them. Yeah.
You don't have to change my name. I'm
Yeah.
okay with
Yes.
it.
It's out there.
Yeah, it's out there already now.
One of the things we like talking about, and a lot of our listeners who appreciate it is because a lot of them have these experiences growing up. And what the first thing I usually ask is, at what age did you start to see these things? Yeah.
Probably when I was around 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
Um, but my whole family saw it.
Okay.
We lived I lived in a house that was in this small town in this state called New Jersey, and there was a battlefield there, and that was part of the town. And this battlefield was back when the Hessians fought, United States against England type of thing.
Yes.
And there was a little hospital on there. So a lot of the houses in that area were all haunted. I would talk to my neighbors. They all had stuff going on. We would have like ashtrays move or glasses move. I remember this was back in the 70s where my sister had a record player. So if you wanted to play a record, you have to lift the record up and it held there. You hit a little switch and it dropped down. Well, me and my brothers would be downstairs watching TV, and then the record player would turn on. And then not only would it play one record, but it would take a record off and put another record on.
Yes.
So it played. So something was picking up records and putting it on.
Yes.
To the point where we would. My sister was getting ready for school one day, and my mom was helping her, and they're in the bathroom, and they went to look in this mirror, this full-length mirror on a door. And when they looked in the mirror, there was a woman standing there with a colonial outfit on.
Yeah.
So I saw things in this house. I was with a girlfriend once, and we were watching TV, and she was at the foot of the bed, and I was at the other end. And this big, thick white thing, about maybe 2 feet thick and about 4 feet long, came out of my closet and was snaking its way across the room. And then all of a sudden, it just disappeared.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend said to me, "Did you see that?" I was like, "Yeah, I saw that, but let's get the heck out of here," you know?
Yes.
I saw all kinds of crazy stuff in that house. Yeah, it was just kind of crazy stuff. And then my parents and I moved out of the house, just me and my mom and dad. We moved to another state called Delaware. My one brother, but he moved back a year later. But when we got to this new house, I was seeing stuff still.
Okay.
No one else was.
Okay.
My sister has this gift a little bit as well, but she just doesn't use it.
Use it. Yeah.
I was seeing stuff in this new house. I was there one time. I played in a band. I had big hair.
Yeah.
Yeah, big hair and a zebra striped spandex on. And yeah, it was. I thought it was cool, but it wasn't. And I came home from a gig one time and laid down in bed. And when I did, something laid down next to me like 3-4 times.
Yes.
And then that 5th time, I got up to take a look around, and whatever it was, picked up the blanket and brought it up to the ceiling and shook it above me, and then it dropped it down on top of me. And then after that, I slept on the couch for 2 years because I was scared shitless at that point.
For 2 years. One of the we actually got to talk with a person I met on Reddit, a medium also, and I asked her the same question. She's in the Midwest, I think, and I asked her about elementals. And I remember in one of your interviews, you said actually you've seen the small people and the different kinds of spirits and entities. And in the Philippines, I'm not sure if you're aware of it. In the Philippines, we believe this wholeheartedly. We have names for elementals that are in the houses. We call them duende, similar to the Spanish, they're dwarves. We have entities living in trees. We have entities living in mountains. And I'm not sure if you've encountered something like this.
I have seen, like when I was seeing stuff, it was right before my 50th birthday when all this stuff really, my wife went away on vacation to see her daughter across the United States. And I was here for 2 weeks. And it was right then that I saw everything that you could ever think of that was scary. And some of that was, I was seeing this green and red mist pour out of the walls, and then these little tiny creatures. They were like maybe this big. They were almost, I don't know. I mean, you could almost say they were like monkey looking, but almost human monkey looking.
Yes, yes.
And they were coming out of the walls and walking all over the bed and all this stuff. And I was like, what is going on here? You know, this is crazy stuff. Yeah, I've seen all kinds of stuff. But then I was seeing like big, tall shadows, and then like 6-7 foot skeletons walk around the house, and skulls pouring out of the walls, and the skulls had red eyes and fangs, all kinds of stuff.
One of our theories, I'm not sure if you would agree with it. We have this creature we call the capre, and this entity, this elemental, technically it's a tree elemental or an earth elemental, let's say, and it resides on trees. Usually they see it on trees. For the psychics who live here, most of the time they sense it on a tree, on top of a tree, or walking around trees. And when I heard several stories about the Bigfoot in several areas in the States, they said that the Bigfoot would sometimes just disappear. And the Bigfoot would sometimes communicate telepathically. And it's similar to the experience here for that kind of being. I'm not sure if you would.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Have you experienced anything like that when you're, in the forests or?
No, the only thing I ever get out of the forest is if because I have some woods behind me.
Mhm.
And sometimes if I close my eyes, because I see spirit everywhere. I see
Yeah.
it during the day, but when I have my eyes closed, I see
Yeah.
them. Or if it's dark black, I see everything. And yeah, sometimes I can close my eyes and I just see spirit of other animals that are walking around in there. But none that I've seen like with my eyes open. I haven't caught any creatures like that,
Yeah.
but I do know they do exist. Some of those creatures I do know come from other dimensions as well.
Dimensions, yes. I have this theory that here in the Philippines, because I relate it to your same theory. I mean, it's not a theory, but it's your belief that when you, it's my favorite thing that you say that when you push away negativity, when you exude negativity, you attract
Right.
negativity, right?
Absolutely.
Here in the Philippines, relating it to that, here in the Philippines, we believe in these things so much. Sometimes you will see trees in the countryside. Trees, they put a chair underneath the tree because they know there's an entity there. And people in the Philippines, we believe it so much that I think we're providing it energy to, to sometimes they are malevolent.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you are. Yeah, when you put that kind of energy out, you're
Yeah,
going to get that energy back, and that's
yeah,
what because where they are, they need that. That's what they're attracted to. Same thing with negative energies here. If you have a negative energy around you, it's because you're putting out some type of negative energy, and when you're doing that, yeah, it's gonna try to attach itself to you because it needs that negative energy in order for it to survive where it's at.
yes. Uh, Before I get to it's gonna be my favorite question here because the Hat Man. Before we go to that, is there a particularly scary experience or weird experience when you were still in a band? Because I'm sure when you were in a band, I'm not generalizing, but there was probably a lot of negativity where you play or mosh pit and all that.
Yeah, because you would think because of all that hard rock music,
Yeah,
but no, I never. Yeah, no, I never really had any bad experiences with that. But then again, like I said, I see spirit all the
all the
time,
time. Yes,
everywhere. So no
yes,
matter where I'm at, if I walk into a store, I see spirit walking around there.
yes,
Uh, but that has to not necessarily do with the store, but it is. But spirit is everywhere you go, no matter where you go. No matter if you wake up in the morning and you do your daily routine and you go to
yeah,
work and then you come home and do whatever, you watch TV and then you wake up and do it all over again. They're around us all
yeah,
all the time, 24/7. But I've seen some crazy things. I've seen like rolling over and my wife and I set this camera up that it had night vision on it,
yeah,
and I said let's try that and see if we can capture something. And I went in the bedroom to go to sleep, and then I thought she came in and put her hands on me, so I rolled over to look, and
yeah,
when I did, there was a 7-foot skeleton standing next to me with his hands on it. I was like, and I got up and I looked at it and I said, "What do you want with me?" And it looked
yeah,
at me like it was surprised to see me,
yeah,
like it couldn't believe I was talking to it. I said,
yes.
"What do you want?" And he just kind of backed up and
Walked away.
walked right into the wall and left. And
Yeah,
I went to get my wife. I said, "Hey, bring it up on your phone, the camera." And she brings it up and wouldn't work. So we went back into the room to check the camera, and whatever it was, it turned the camera off.
wow. That's a
Yeah.
consistent story with some of the things we've also heard. Daniel, can I ask you also another question? We talked to this. He's another psychic, and he's same as you. He's maybe probably the same age as you now. I'm not. Are you around mid 50s?
Yeah, I'll be 55 in a couple of months.
Yeah, similar to you. And he started also seeing, but he started seeing when he was 30, I think. And he said that he noticed that more and more people are staying earthbound before, when he started seeing,
Yes.
mostly they would move to the light and ascend, but he's seeing more and more people now. He's saying it's a multiplier effect. He's seeing more and more people staying.
Yes. As many people cross over into the light, there's that many people who don't. So when I'm in my blackened room here, like I darken out this room to meditate,
Yeah.
and when I do that, or when I'm going to sleep, um, I'm able to see it. I'm able to see on the earthbound side.
Yes.
Um, it's not hell. There's nobody with horns there and a
Yes.
tail. No one's being tortured or anything like that. It's just not that way. There's no, I see land, okay, and I see people walking around, but I don't see any homes or any trees or anything. It's just people walking around, and there are gazillions of them,
Okay.
and they're just walking around. They're talking to each other. They're interacting with each other. They're doing something you probably wouldn't expect. They're out there making out all the time. Uh, they're doing more than just making out. They're going downtown. I was like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. I'm like watching it and going, man, this is like one big giant spirit orgy, and I'm not
Yeah.
invited, you know. But yeah, there's not just people there. There's dogs and cats and horses. I see everything, all spirit. So yeah, but there's nothing there for them to do. But that's part of my job, is to go there and to cross them over into the light.
Yeah.
The light I'm actually crossing them over is me.
Yes. Actually, I'll probably explain that here, but I want them to visit your site, and I like that story. I want them to hear that story straight from one of your videos on your, probably on your YouTube, when you explain
Oh yeah.
that you had let's say ghost hunters help you out
Oh yeah.
again. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a particularly funny story, and I want to direct them to your YouTube where you explain
Oh,
that. But
absolutely. Yeah, they should.
we've talked to someone who has the ability to open that. They do a circle, like a protection circle, and they go to a particularly haunted area, and then with the protection spell around them, they conjure up that light, and they the same thing you do. They ferry people over to the light. They have to talk to them. And convince them. But for the listeners to understand, for Daniel, he is the light, right?
Yes.
You are that light. They are attracted to
Yeah,
you.
that light has to be in a. I was told by my guides, which are archangels, because archangels don't look like men with wings. They're just
Yeah.
not. But I'm told I am the light that shines to show spirit how to cross over, and it has to be within a physical body in order to be here to shine for them to see. And because sometimes I have to do it physically, where I have to tell them where to go and how to get there, and I talk to them, and then I talk to my spirit guides to get answers for them, and that's why I'm able to get answers for other people as well. But because we're all connected to each other. But yeah, so I tell people, because people ask me for readings, and they ask me like how many times they've been here, because that's one of my specialties.
Oh yeah.
And I've been here myself over 23,000 times.
Wow.
Mine keeps coming back. My soul was actually in my grandfather's before it was in me. I was about to be born, and that's when your soul comes in, when you as soon
Yes.
as you're born.
Yes.
And my dad called up his dad and said, "Hey, he's going to be born. You got to come to the hospital." And he got ready to come to the hospital, and he had a heart attack and died. And when he did, his soul left his body and came into mine, and boom, and here I am.
Yeah.
And he wanted to know when I was going to be born, because he knew as well. He had that gift and he understood it. So, but he didn't know that the soul had to leave his body to come into mine, but it just did. But it's the last time I'm here. I don't have to come back after this. I'm also clairvoyant, and one of the messages they showed me a long time ago was me walking around in a really, 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 really large graveyard.
Okay.
So the interpretation of that is lots of people are going to die.
Yeah, lots of people are going to die.
I know where they're all going anyway.
Yeah. That's right.
So it's okay. I'll see them again anyway.
Yes,
I
that's
see
true.
everybody else when they die. So hey, it's all right, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Is it okay if we go to the Hat Man? Because again, I discovered this maybe 2 weeks ago, and then I just connected. I was talking to this person, similar to the story I messaged you. I was talking to this person, and then she said consistent stories about the man in a hat with another girl, and I had them talking. And yeah, have you experienced? Have you?
Yes, I've seen the Hat Man.
Yes.
Uh,
What is he?
what that was the first thing. I'll explain him to you. I still see him regularly now on a regular basis, and he talks to me, and I know why he's here, and I will explain why he's actually here. When my wife first left for that 2 weeks, that was the first thing that I saw was the Hat Man. I was down in the basement with my cat,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to him, I said, "Come on, buddy, it's time to go upstairs." And he looked at me, and he looked over to his right, and I looked over to my left, and I saw this wall of blackness just appear in the middle of the floor. And then this man walked out. And I didn't know what he was at that time, but he walked out. He had this full length black coat on and a wide black hat. He was just solid black. I couldn't see his eyes, but I could see his nose and his chin. I could see his features.
Mm-hmm.
And he walked out across that wall, and he walked through it, and he came out, and he walked across the floor. And when he did, I noticed one weird thing was he didn't have any feet, but he walked in perfect stride across the floor, and then he just disappeared. But then I continued to see him later on. And I see him still continuously. He'll come by once in a while, talks to me whenever I see him. Now he wears this long black coat, and he wears a fedora. And I say, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" He looks at me, and he tips his hat at me. The reason he's here is completely different than what people think he's here for. He's here. He's not in spirit. He's coming through from another dimension. The reason he's coming through from that dimension is because people in this dimension, like me, have an ability to see, hear, feel, smell spirit. We are in communication with spirit.
Yes.
In his dimension, they are not. And he's coming through here because he tells me he's paid by other people to come here and watch me, because they want him to try to figure out what it is that I'm doing, some special thing that enables me or other people to be able to communicate with spirit. And they want to know why we communicate with them. And they're trying to figure out how they can do it as well, but they just can't. But the problem is with that is there's nothing special that we do, because when you come through and you have this ability,
Yeah.
it's not actually given to you.
Yeah.
You have it already. You come
Yes.
through. It comes through with your soul each and every time that it has to come back. And it comes back with this ability. And that's why we have it. Why do we all have that? We're just here to be teachers for other people, to give them messages so we can try to help each other to get through our lives better. But yeah, they want to try to figure that out. So they send this hat dude to come through and try to find that out, but he just can't. He even tells me, he goes, "I don't know what you're doing." And I say, "Yeah, I know you don't know what I'm doing, because it just comes with my soul." And I've told him that a bunch of times, but he says,
Yeah.
they're paying me to come here, so that's why I come here." I say, "Okay."
Is there a way to find out? I mean, if you get to talk to him again, but from the stories, they seem to be collecting. So this girl we talked to, when she gets into her astral form, I'm not sure if that's the right term or if it's her soul, but when she enters this astral plane, it's like darker, and then when she was 6 years old, she would get yanked by the Hat Man and the girl. Sometimes the Hat Man would be with the girl.
Yeah, I've heard about the girl. I haven't seen the girl yet.
And they would bring her to this endless corridor. So I don't know why. And again, the stories are consistent with the two people we've talked to. It's like a classroom, and they have people there lined up.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they're trying to understand also.
Yeah, they're trying to understand. They're trying to they're trying to see if they can get it from your consciousness. They haven't figured out yet, even though I've told this guy, they just haven't figured out that you can't, as I tell people here who want this gift, because when they want this gift, they don't want this gift. They only want the cool part of the gift. They don't want all the work that's involved.
Yes.
And it actually physically makes me ill sometimes because of what they're doing to me. But yeah, they're trying to get the information. Like I said, I tell people, I see them all the time. Maybe I can take a class. You can't take a class for this.
Yeah.
You can't get certified, and all of a sudden now you're a psychic medium.
Yes.
I know people who have said they are, or they don't like it when I call them out, because I know they're not really what they are. They try to trick me on this stuff on my live show all the time, and I call them out. But they get angry. But I don't care, because they're lying to people. But yeah, they're trying to find out the information. It's just information. You can't do it. If you don't have it, you don't have it. If you don't have this ability, you just don't. And they can't seem to figure that out. They think there's a trick to it, but there's not.
Would you be able to give, advice? This girl that we talked to, who's first experienced the Hatman, told the story to us. She said that it's like she doesn't have control over her astral body or her astral self, because every time she would tell us, sometimes she would wake up and rise up from the bed. Now she knows that she has to look back to see if her body is there, because sometimes she rises up without her body. Is there a way to protect herself from?
Yeah, the only way that she can do that is by talking to her spirit guides. Uh, Everybody has spirit guides. I have them, you have them. Mine just happen to be archangels, and not just happen to be, it's are for what I am, and I have to have them with me. But she needs to talk to them and tell them, ask them for protection from everything and anything that's around her. And she needs to also, when she wakes up in the morning, I used to say, until I found out I didn't have to do this,
Yeah.
I would wake up in the morning and say, oh, I'm going to take all my energy and pull my energy out of me and around me to protect me from all negative energies that are within me or outside of me, and do
Yes.
that every morning. But I don't have to do that because I'm always protected. But she needs to really talk to them and ask them, especially she should do that in meditation,
Oh yes.
because
Okay.
I mean, because when she does take herself out of her body, when she comes out of her body, like, she's very vulnerable
Yes.
to everything and anything. So she needs to have some type of protection. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's what we noticed when she tells that story, that she seems to be unprotected when she she, she
Sure
sometimes
is.
sees her dad. She sees her dad who passed away tell her, "Oh, don't go outside." When
Yeah.
she's going out of the room in her astral form, her dad tells her. But of course, I don't think her dad has passed, meaning her dad has moved on already, because he's
Oh
still
yeah.
watching over her.
Yeah. You know why he tells her that?
Why?
Because he's in spirit. She's
Yeah.
not supposed to be in spirit yet she's coming away from her body. So he doesn't want her to go out because he knows she'll be vulnerable, because when you leave your body, you're not actually leaving, you're still tethered to your body a little bit. And
Okay.
that's what keeps your soul there, connected to the body. But he doesn't want her to go outside because he's afraid that they will actually take her soul from her.
Yes.
And if they do that, somebody's going to find her body dead the next day. So
Yes.
yeah, she has to get some type of protection,
Yeah, for that.
not by the Bible.
Sorry, not from the. Yes.
That's bullshit. Yeah.
There's this one thing that you keep saying, and I just realized it again, because you said it maybe 2 nights ago when I was listening to you. You said that, why is it that they put, this is for the Catholic Church particularly.
I know I'm Catholic.
Yeah, are you Catholic also?
Yeah, not really, but yeah.
Yeah, me too. I'm a non-practicing Catholic.
Yeah. Do you know how to get a nun pregnant?
How?
You dress her up like an altar boy.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, that's true, right? Yeah.
And the way they cover it up,
And the way they cover it up. Yeah.
they don't even persecute the priests who do it. They just move them around.
No, they don't. No, because they're not gonna. They're gonna look out for their own people. They
Yeah,
have to.
that's right. When you mentioned that, why does the Catholic Church have Christ on the cross, pinned to the cross, bleeding, and is that, again, that's not a sign of, you don't feel that peace, you don't feel that
No,
love.
that's
Yeah.
fear. That's power and control. The reason why he came in the first place, he came here to help us, to show us that we could all live together, and live as free men and women, and take care of each other and share everything in the world. But the people who are in control, that was religion. They don't want you to know that part. They scooped him up and put him on that cross, and he wasn't the first one to be on it or the last one. And they tortured the crap out of him and then murdered him in front of people to let people know, if you follow what this guy said or you do what this guy said, we're going to do this to you too. And that's why they keep him on that cross, not to remind you of what Jesus, they say he died for your sins, because no one sins,
Yeah.
because we just don't. We are all created as a divine soul. Everyone is, not just Jesus. And he was here to tell us that as well. And we're all created equal. That's where it gets mixed up. They say we're equal, but then they say we're not,
Yes.
But
yes.
yeah, Jesus was here to tell us that. But yeah, they have him on the cross to put fear into your eyes, to let you know that they have control over you. And that's how they keep that fear in you by saying, well, see what he did? Well, if you do that type of stuff, if you're out there sinning, we're going to do this to you too. And that's what it's all about. It's all power and control.
You also mentioned in one of your videos that you mentioned it earlier, but you said hell doesn't exist. So
No.
what's to keep people from doing bad things?
Well, they do these bad things because they're considered bad in our laws and
Yes.
our world
Yes.
because we created these laws and all that stuff. But all people are doing is using their free will, but they are using their free will too much for themselves and not for anyone else. Okay, not to help anyone else.
Yes.
So they're using it that, and they're using it with their ego. But all this stuff was all taught to us
Yeah.
because we were taught to have power and control over one another by religion, by government. We were taught that, and we were taught that it's okay for them to do it because
Yeah.
it's okay. It's okay for my president to
Yes.
send me into war to kill people from another country that I don't know, but I'm not allowed to go out by myself and start killing people. So what kind of sense does that make?
Yes.
It doesn't make sense because the sense that it is it's okay for some people, but not for all people. But they teach this to us. They teach us like it's okay. It's okay if you went into war and killed everybody, and then you come back here, and then they ridicule you for doing that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is the senseless power and control that our religion and our government has over us, and then it just carries through when you watch enough TV shows or play enough video games or movies, and it's all about killing, 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 killing. Well, then some people are going to get it in their mind that maybe I could go out and kill some people. It'll be okay, but it's not. It's not.
Related to that, you said that if you disperse negativity, if you exude negativity, it comes back to you. Is that for you? I mean, again, right now, of course, we're people, and we go through tough times also, and we get that
We do.
depression, we get sadness also. I would get messages sometimes that, oh, I have some sort of depression, and I seem to attract negative entities because of this, and I'm not a psychiatrist. I cannot tell them what they should do, but I mean, from your experience, what should they do?
You don't need a psychiatrist for that, Nick.
Yeah.
You can change that yourself by turning yourself around. Because when you have anxiety, when you have depression about something, the only person who's keeping those depressive feelings inside of you is you. The only person who's keeping that anxiety inside of you is you. And the only person who's going to release it from you is also you. You have to decide to let go of these feelings. You have to decide that you're not going to be depressed about things. You can talk to a therapist or something like that, but again, what are they doing? They're just talking to you. You could talk to anybody and they could talk these feelings out of you. Just because they went to college doesn't mean they can talk to you better. But you have to. It's like if I was your friend and I said, "Hey, Nick, you're drinking a lot. You're an alcoholic. You need to stop drinking. I'll take you to classes and I'll take you to AA or whatever."
Yeah.
I can do all that. I can say all that, but it's not going to change unless you decide to make the change and stop drinking. It's the same with anybody. So if you want to get rid of these depressive feelings, you have to make the decision in order to do that. And then turn yourself around and stop thinking about these things that are out of your control. If you can't see it, hear it, feel it, smell it, taste it, or actually do anything about it, then it's not part of your life. Your child could be doing some really dumb stuff, but unless your child chooses to change his ways, there's no reason for you to worry about it because you can't do anything about it. So we have to learn to let this little stuff go, let all this depression and anxiety go. And when we do that, we have to start thinking more positively. And when we do that, then more positive things will happen and these negative energies will just stay away from us. But we have to be more positive people in order to do that. And only we are in charge of that.
I like this part where you, in one of your videos, you say that some people they gossip about other people, they complain about these people, and then they say, "Why did I get a flat tire? Why did this bad thing happen to me?" And it's like you're
Yeah.
attracting it because you're attracting it.
Yeah, because when you're putting it out, I call it, I say it this way, we create our own storms, but then we
Yeah.
cry when it rains all the time
Yeah.
because they're
Yeah.
creating this problem. If you have drama in your life, you're creating it because you're being a part of it. The only way you can get away from that is to choose to not be a part of it.
Yes.
But that's anybody in your life. If you have anybody, I don't care if it's your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, your best friend, or your so-called best friend, if there's somebody in your life who's not helping to lift you up in your life,
Mhm.
and you vice versa for them, if they're just being a drain on you all the time and telling you you're such a piece of crap and you
Mhm.
can't do
Mhm.
anything, well, then it's up to you to exit those people from your life. But us ourselves, if you're walking around and gossiping around people and saying bad things or just being horrible, the only person who can change that is you. You have to decide. But a lot of people don't want to do that because
Yes.
it gives them a sense of power when they're around other people. It makes them feel like
Mm.
I'm because they feel like they can't fit in without having that type of power. When if they were just being themselves, maybe they could. Or what they could do is if that's not the group of people where they fit in, then go find your people
Yes.
and just get away from those people and find your people that you fit in with. And then everything would be okay. You don't have to pretend to be this horrible person. But when they do that, they start to get used to it. And this is who they become. And then a lot of times is when it's time for them to cross over, they don't want to go into the light because they like that sense of horribleness power they had. And they just remain here as an earthbound spirit. Not everyone that hangs out here earthbound is a horrible person. A lot of them don't cross over for a lot of reasons, like because when you pass away, what's going to happen? It doesn't make a difference if you get hit by a car or fall off the top of a building, get the debilitating, get COVID,
Yeah.
whatever. Um, what's going to happen? You're passing away for one reason because your body has to die in order for your soul to move on.
Yeah.
And the way it's going to happen for everybody is the same way. You fall asleep, you fall asleep, you're out. Even if you're burning, you fall asleep, you're out.
Yeah.
And then you wake up, you look down, you'll see your body and go, oh, I don't need that anymore. You're going to take a step to the left, then you're going to see the light. But the light that you see is not me. You're going to see everyone gets a personal light.
Okay.
And then when you see that light, it's up to you to walk in. But a lot of them, here's what happens when you stand up and you're out of your body, you get all the memories back from your lifetime here, but not just those. You're going to get all the memories back from all the other previous lifetimes you've here. And if you've been here 25, 26 times and you go, oh my gosh, I've been here 25, 26 times. I don't know if I want to, because you're going to know you might have to come back again. And you're going to say, I don't know if I want to come back again. I'm not going into that light. And boom, then they stay here.
Okay. It's a decision. It's free will.
Yeah, it's absolutely a decision. It's not that they're miserable where they are. Uh, they just know they don't want to have to come back again because the reason they come back is because everyone comes back because they didn't fulfill their purpose. Everyone you look at outside in the world, everyone there has been to heaven and they all had to come back because they didn't fulfill their purpose. And their purpose is so easy to fill, but they think their ego gets involved in, oh, I have to do something that's going to make me more special than someone else.
Yeah.
When no one is more special than anyone. We're all the same. We all came
Yes.
from the same place. We can all go back to the same place if we choose to go back. But or if you don't, you just stay here with all the other gazillions of miserable people here. So, yeah, nobody wants to do that because I don't want to do that. That's for sure. But yeah.
Yeah. You mentioned in one of your videos, you mentioned you do spirit alignment. And I read from somewhere that some mental illnesses are because of spiritual misalignment also. Have you experienced that? Meaning, yeah.
The spirit, the alignment I do on people is because of us stressing ourselves out, because we get so much anxiety all the time. What that does is sometimes it shifts your soul in your body because your body
Mhm.
is supposed to be like a letter T, like your eyes are right here and the rest of you comes down that way. And whenever I'm with someone doing a reading, I have to be with them to do this. I can turn them around and I close my eyes and I can look into them and I can see their soul that's inside of them. And the soul that's inside of you right now doesn't look like you. It looks like you the last time that you were here. It's just when it leaves your body, each time it leaves your body, it retains the shape of that body. So when you get to heaven this time, Nick, you're going to be you. I mean,
Yeah,
you're going to be you,
this one.
except you're
Yeah,
just going to be how old are you now?
I'm.
Oh, when you get to heaven, you'll go back to being 30.
Oh,
Everybody
okay.
does. Whatever age you die, you just go back to being 30. That's the thing about the ones who don't cross over. Whatever age that you die, and if you don't cross over into the light, you remain that age there. That's the drawback of it. Is that kind of, I mean, you're not breaking any bones or anything, but if you die at 79 years old and you choose not to go in there, you stay there 79 years old. You don't go back to being young. But yeah, so I can see their soul, and sometimes it gets off, it gets turned, or there's like little deviations. Look like somebody scoops something out of them.
Yeah.
So what I do is I just, the energy is already in me because I'm this light, and I take my hands and I put my hands on their shoulder, and then I just I make it go back. I close my eyes and I talk to it, and I get it to turn back to a certain way, and then I will fill up the spaces that have emptied out and put the energy back in, and then that's it. But yeah, we get messed up like that because we stress ourselves out. So much stress, so much anxiety, which in turn puts stress on our soul, which in turn rounds again and puts stress back on us again too. So it's a big vicious circle.
So it doesn't necessarily mean that just because your spirit is misaligned doesn't relate to a mental health illness,
Um,
or
I don't know.
sometimes it
You
does.
might be crazy as bad shit. I don't know. Maybe no. It just but it is a mental thing because if you're constantly putting yourself under stress and anxiety, that would mean you're not thinking clearly whatsoever. And yeah, so that is a mental health issue. That's something you need to fix. Either go get it fixed or fix it yourself.
Daniel, with the work you're doing, I mean, helping others. From the other people we've talked to who do the same thing, meaning helping others. When you do help others, you're bound to be a target by evil aligned, or let's say negative aligned entities. How many times have you been attacked for what you've been doing?
Oh, by regular people?
No, by have you been attacked by like evil entities
Oh,
or yeah,
never. I see them all the time, but because I have archangels with me, they can't even get close to me.
and because of the light maybe. But what kind of evil entities have you been seeing?
I see. So the one thing that people don't realize, so maybe this will clear some things up for them. Um, because they are pure energy, even these negative ones,
Yes,
they can read your mind. They can read your thoughts.
yes.
So if you have some thoughts in your mind about something that scares you, because they are pure energy, they can manipulate themselves to look like the things that scare you the most and then project that in front of you to
Okay.
scare you even more. And the reason that they do this is because when they are putting fear into you because of that, and then you're exuding fear is negative energy, then they feed off of that. So I see them all the time. They are the color red. And when they do, they always try that with me. They always give me the real dirty look to the monster, turn themselves in these monster looking things. And they get angry even more because I laugh at them.
Okay.
Because I always tell them, I say, well, you can put up your angry face there,
Yeah.
spirit, but you can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
So I always tell them, why don't you do yourselves a favor and just turn around and go away? Because if you don't, I'm going to get my friends to mojo your ass out of here. And they look at me and they go, and get all this.
Yeah.
And I say, okay. But then what happens is cool. I go, hey, can you guys get rid of this red thing in front of me? And then as I'm watching this thing, I see these globs of big white light come out of nowhere and just go
Yeah.
boom and attack it. And
Yeah.
boom. And the thing goes and gets all mad at me.
Yeah.
And I just I told you to go away, but because you're negative energy, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
And they get all frustrated and then they finally leave. But no, they can never touch me. Spirit cannot actually possess anybody. What they can do is they can put negative thoughts into your mind, but you have a thinking mind, and it's up to you to decide whether or not you're going to follow through with them. It's just like anybody else. If somebody walked up to you, Nick, and said, hey, Nick, I want you to go kill this guy, you're going to go, I'm not going to do that. Or you might be one of those people who goes, okay, maybe I will. Well, that's everybody. And when these
Yes.
negative energies come around us, it's up to us to make up our minds that we're either not going to listen to them, or you might listen to them. Just the same way that when positive ones come through and give us help us with our daily things, you can either listen to them, or a lot of people use their ego and talk themselves out of it and don't listen to them. So they're just that types of people in the world.
Yeah. One of the people we've talked to, he's not a practicing psychic, but he has the abilities. He said that possession, it's very hard to be possessed, but the reason some people are possessed is because they accept the spirit to come in.
Right, they accept it. They accept it. Yeah. When you accept these things into your role and you're okay with it, then this thing is constantly talking to you and you're just doing what it's telling you to do.
That's a scary part, actually. So in the Philippines, some psychics have seen. I'll be asking about an entity. They've seen this entity. They say it's a fallen angel. Usually, they see it in battlefields or places where a lot of people have died. And when I asked the spirit light worker we talked to in Denmark, she said that she's experienced one in the States, and she said in the US there are a lot of these fallen angels, especially in battlefields. So have you experienced something like that? Like they say it's a building, not a building tall, but it's like a house tall being, hooded being that is exuding like negative energy, and there are no other spirits around it.
Just all they are is a negative energy. They are not they are not fallen angels. Angels cannot fall. They don't fall. That's another myth from the Bible that they want you to tell you, like Lucifer's a fallen angel. He's not. Lucifer's. So like I said, I have archangels with me. One of them is Lucifer. He's one of my guides. Uh, he actually helps me with the business side of what I do. Uh, but is he a fallen angel? No, he's just an angel with a bad rap. Because in order for people to have power and control over you, they have to be able to punish you. And in order to punish you, they have to put you in a place which would be adult punishment, which would be, hell. And they have to have a guy who's the bad guy who's controlling everything,
Yeah.
because otherwise you would just be able to run free and get out of there. So they have to have so yeah, they named him as being that. But is he a beautiful angel? Well, they're all beautiful angels. They don't look like people. Some of them do, but some of them are not so human looking. They look a lot different. And then some of them are, whew, but yeah, they don't look like people whatsoever. If you want to know what they look like, I'll tell you.
Yeah, later. Sige.
There's no fallen angels. These are just negative energies that are walking around looking for people, because what they want to do is, if you're at a battlefield, they know that a lot of people are going to die there. And they will look for somebody who just woke up out of their body and then try to keep them from going into the light. That's what they're trying to do. That's all. They want them to remain there because they feed off of their energy as well, and that's why they want them to remain on the earthbound side. When they put that hood on themselves, all they're doing is projecting themselves to look that certain way.
Yes. That's recent learning for us also, that just because you've seen it that way doesn't mean it across the board everyone sees it that way. It's just
That's
the
right.
projection. Yeah.
That's absolutely.
So what do angels look like for you? I mean,
I'll tell you a specific one. So Archangel Michael does not look like a guy with a shield
Yeah.
and a sword. He just doesn't. Archangel Michael actually looks like, this will sound funny, a moose.
okay.
That's what he looks like.
Yeah.
His head is a little bit wider apart. Okay. His eyes are in front, but his eyes are further apart. They're like over here, like one here and one here. He doesn't have antlers, but his body looks like a moose, and it's got short hair on it. Archangel, let's see, Raphael. I'm doing, when you see me doing this, it's because the reason I'm doing that is because they actually touch my face.
Yes.
For answers. So I'm trying to. So it's Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel. I have one named Manos. Another Raphael over here. They look like a praying mantis.
Okay.
Literally, like when I look up at night and I see them, I see their heads right above me, and I see their bodies, and I see their arms coming down, little tentacles and stuff like that. They look like 7-foot praying mantises standing in my room. Yeah, they have the bug eyes, everything. But I know what they are. I know what they do for me, and I know what they do for everybody else. And when you know that, you don't become scared of that
Yes.
because you know what they're doing. And all they are beings of a higher consciousness that have evolved to no longer needing bodies. And they have been here for billions and billions of years. They have been here longer than religion has been here.
Yeah.
So yeah, that
Yeah.
whole and I don't have just 12 or 14 of these guys around me. How many do I have around me? The only answer I have for that is what they've told me is all of them.
Okay.
And all of them is thousands of them.
Yes.
Uh, I have one named Helen. She actually is a woman. Used to walk here on the face of Earth, and still looks like a woman. She was an Egyptian princess. That's how long ago she was here. But yeah, some of them look. I have one I've seen that looks like an owl. But some of them they look human, but not. They look humanoid more or less, and
Yes.
maybe their eyes are a different place and stuff like
Yes.
that. But yeah, I mean, most of the ones I've seen look like praying mantises, and they're. I mean, I don't know. I've always thought a praying mantis is beautiful myself. So yeah, I see them every single night that I go to bed. I see them when they're around me during the day. Like right now, I see them, but they don't look like that. If you've ever seen anybody smoking a cigarette, and when the smoke comes off the cigarette, it billows off these little. Right, that's what I see. I see that around me like this all the time in the daytime, and then but at nighttime they glow. It's this big glowing thing. And not only do they glow, but I glow. And the way that I mean that is physically. Like sometimes when I go to sleep at night, I go to bed before my wife does, and we keep the room blacked out because she was a nurse. When she walks into the room, she doesn't have to turn a nightlight on because I glow so much that she can see everything where she goes in the room.
I was going to ask you about that. Does it bother your wife?
No,
The thing.
she's also an empath.
Okay.
We found that out. But no, when you're around me, you have to get used to the crazy things that happen.
Yeah.
Like my sister was around me one time in a low lit room, and we were talking, and when we were, this big flash of light went poof off next to me, and she was like, and I was like, "What's wrong with you?" She's like, "That big light that went off next to you." I said, "Oh yeah." She said, "It looked like lightning went off in the room." I said, "Oh, that's just somebody jumping in." She said, "Jumping? Oh, you mean crossing over?" I said, "Yeah, crossing over, jumping in. That's what I call it." And she said, "Oh my God, does that happen all the time?" I said, "Yeah, it just happens all the time." And she said, "How do you get used to that?" I said, "In simple terms, when you're a kid and your mom puts green beans in front of your face all the time,
Yeah.
by the time you're 30 years old, you eat green beans because you like it." Well, I get used to it. It's
Yeah.
just it just happens.
Yeah.
But one of the things I like to say that happens around me a lot is I ask people, is your house haunted? And they say no. I say, "Do you want it to be? Let me come in, and 10 minutes later it will be."
Yeah. Because you bring in all the spirits.
Yeah, because wherever I go, they are.
They are there. Yes. When you told that story about the owl, it reminds me of a story of we talked to this guy who is an exorcist, but he's not really a priest, but he helps with this gift. He helps exorcise let's say evil aligned entities. And one time he was being assaulted somewhere and he saw a bear, a white bear, and it approached him and it kind of protected him. And he got into this pretty late, so he doesn't understand all of these things. And he said, I couldn't understand it. It was a white bear, and it kind of gave me the sense of protection because something was trying to attack him.
He was seeing a spirit animal.
Yeah.
Just like we have spirit guides, he
Yes.
had a spirit guide, but it was an animal that came through. It was a spirit animal that came through, was giving him this protection. I mean, the only way that you can actually make negative energy go away is by putting positive energy out there. There's a lot of things in this business that's so untrue. Like people do that stuff called smudging, where they bundle up those plants together and then they burn it and they go,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get the negative." Well, you can't do that because in the realm that they are in, they don't breathe, so they don't have lungs, so that means they can't smell. So with all the forest fires in the world, don't you think that would have made all the negative energy go away?
Yeah.
No, because they can't smell anything. So
Yes.
That's all bull crap too. There's so much bull crap in this stuff that they want you to believe, and they
Yes.
only want you to believe it for one reason, because it makes money.
Yes, it makes money for them.
They're selling you a sack of shit. That's what they're selling you.
I'd like to ask also. I'd like to segue to the, since you mentioned that again, angels are just they've been very old and they're a higher consciousness, and we've talked to this several people, not a lot, but several people who say that they've gotten in contact with ETs, extraterrestrials. What we're seeing with the people we've talked to, not all of them, but the progression for some people is seeing spirits, seeing elementals, seeing negative entities, and then eventually some people they also get into contact with ETs. Have you gotten? Would you say that angels are technically ETs because they are?
Yes, that's what they are. That's what angels are. They are what we call extraterrestrials. They're aliens. The only reason they're aliens is because they're alien to us. We haven't really made. I mean, we have, but the world doesn't want you to know we're doing that,
Yes.
because they're hiding all this stuff. But yeah, but they're just because they look alien to us. But I live in the United States, and there's people who come into this country illegal, and they call them illegal aliens. That doesn't make sense, right? So yeah, but yes, they are aliens. But yes, I haven't talked to them, but I do see them. There are some here again, because of being the light. Uh, People from other dimensions, other beings from other worlds have this fascination for wanting to watch me. And I'll be in here in my meditation room, and it's dark in here, and then I see this one alien that comes through all the time, and he has this pyramid, but it's like upside down, like a triangle
Yeah.
pyramid thing behind him, and he's sitting. He's got this big greenish brown head,
Yeah.
and these bigger eyes here, and a little tiny mouth.
Yeah.
And he stares at me all the time, and he sits at this little desk that he's got, and he's moving things, and he looks at me and just stares at me, and but yeah, I see them a lot. I see the grays.
Yeah.
I'm also able to do something which is called remote viewing,
Yes.
where I can see other parts of the world. But I've not just seen other parts of the world. I've seen it's not. I know it's not me being. It's just my consciousness is
Yes. You're
there,
just your
and
consciousness. Yeah.
my consciousness has been in ships
Yeah.
and flying around, and I'm watching what they're watching, and I knew it was them because my consciousness. I said, I want to see what's going on in here, and I turned around, and when I did, I saw like 100 of these grays standing there, and I was like, holy shit, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
I'll go back to watching what's outside. And we were flying around. I could tell we were in some part of the country, like Africa or something, because I saw all these gazelle walking around, and there's a light down on them, and they're looking up at it, and all of a sudden,
Yeah.
then we go off again. But yeah, I've actually seen right outside my own home one time, and that's when I knew. I was like, man, this is really crazy. But I
Yeah.
mean, it's not something I'm supposed to have control of, because that's not my role here. My role is here to teach people to how to be positive, and where we're supposed to go next, and fulfilling our purpose and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff, but yeah, I see these aliens all the time. And you know what it is about them? When you see them, you're going to look at them and go, oh, like when you're seeing angels,
Yeah.
you think, oh, they're monsters, but they're not.
Yeah.
They just look like that where they come from. That's
Yes.
all. They're just alien to us. That's
Yes.
all. Yeah.
Have they tried getting in touch with you, meaning communicating with you?
No. From what I understand, from what my spirit guides tell me, is I'm off limits. They're not allowed to.
Oh, they just observe.
Yes, they observe because they want to try to figure out. They want to try to figure out why I am who I am. Same thing with the Hat Man. He wants to figure out why I have such this connection, because I don't just see archangels as well. I see Jesus on a regular basis. He touches me all the time on my face.
Yes.
I've seen God once, but he touches me,
Yeah.
and he touches my eyelid, and that's only happened maybe 4 or 5 times in the past 5 years. But I know it's him. But I've seen what he was showing to me is what just something he was projecting to me, so I would
Yeah.
to understand what he looked like.
With regards to aliens, have you seen these reptilian beings also? Supposedly there are a lot here in the.
Yeah, I see everything.
Yeah.
They are, yeah, they're here, and from what I get, from what my archangels are. So as I'm sitting there talking to you, and I ask them questions, they're actually
Yes.
touching my face and telling me yes and no answers.
Yes.
And they are not the nicest ones to be around.
Yes, that's been consistent also. How about the grays? The people I've talked to who communicate with some of them, they say they're mostly aligned. The grays and the reptilians
Yes,
are.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
They are eventually coming back.
Yes.
They will come back, but I don't know how many of the other mediums have told you this stuff, but eventually the shit is going to hit the fan. And it's coming very soon. Like I said, end of 22 into 23, and it's going to get really bad. They will eventually. So when COVID came, before COVID came, I'm also able to channel, and I can channel with other mediums. The message comes through. I don't know what it's coming through, but it's the angels coming through me, and I connect with them, and then they start speaking, and then it's usually never the same words they use, and it's a different voice all the time. It's kind of crazy. I do it with my wife all the time, and shit comes through. But my wife and I found out 2.5 years prior to COVID coming that COVID was coming. They told us a virus was coming, and they told us about that first stock market crash. And so I was, prior to all that, I was telling people when I would do readings, we were doing a festival circuit, and I was giving out this information, but I only gave it out to people who I thought could handle it. So I did that. And then when COVID actually came, I got like 20 text messages from people that said, "We're so glad we listened to you. You were right about everything."
Yeah.
But then I got 20 more messages from people saying, "I wish we would have listened to you. We thought you were crazy," and all this stuff. And I said, "Well, you got to listen to me now." "Oh, yeah, we'll listen to you now, but it's too late now, you dummies." But yeah, so I was able to get those messages. But we've also been told messages recently that it's going to get worse. We were told in the beginning, before COVID came, that this is not going to last a year. This is going to last for 7 years. And there's going to be a point when it gets really, really bad. And lots of people are going to die. But there's a reason for that. Because in order for the world to move forward, there needs to be less of us. And the less of us that means is the lower negative energy people. We have to cycle through and get rid of those people in order for the positive people who are waking up at this moment to come together and help move this world forward to a better place. But yeah.
That's been consistent with another story that I'm not sure if you agree with it, but they're saying that Earth technically, again, is a living entity, is a living being, and it's ascending at this moment. And as you're saying, it's kind of weeding out people, and
yeah, we're killing it.
Yeah, and the past few months, it's been consistent that the floods have been consistent. The earthquakes here,
Yes.
there have been earthquakes that are consistent.
I mean, you got to agree with me on one point that in the past 120 years, I mean, we've been here for thousands of years, but in the past 120 years, we've been destroying this planet.
That's true.
Yeah, too many people, and too much industry, too much killing all the resources of the world.
Greed. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's been consistent also.
It's a shame. Yeah, we got all those billionaires who are spending billions of dollars so they can go up into space and go to Mars. They want to go to a dead planet, but they got a really good planet right here. You think they would want to take care of it and take care of the people on it, but they don't. They would rather do joyrides up in space. And they want us to be interested in that. Oh, look at them doing that. They could take that billions of dollars and spend it on feeding people, but they don't.
That's true.
And they think we should be okay with that. No, I'm not.
You mentioned again another question. We talked to this girl in Amsterdam, and she also channels. She would constantly channel. The best way she could describe it was a time spirit. When it channeled into her, it would show her the timeline. It's like a stream, and it would show her where we are, how things deviate, how things change. And one thing that was said was, technically, for some ETs, this is their past. What we're experiencing now is their past.
Yes.
Our impact into the whole galactic world in the future is we're going to be destructive. So right now they're trying to shift us into a different,
Yes.
yeah.
Because this is where the big bullcrap part comes from the Bible.
Okay.
Because we were not born of Adam and Eve or Adam and Steve, whatever you want to call it. We're not born of them. We are born of them. They brought us here, and this is where we were born from. And they brought us here to start over because we were on another planet, Mars, and destroyed it.
Okay.
And because we destroyed that one, then they brought us here to start on a new planet to try it again.
Okay.
And then now we're getting to the point again where we're still not learning what we needed to learn, which was take care of each other, which was why Jesus was sent here to show us we could take care of each other. And the people who wanted to have power and control over us continue to have powers and control over us because we as people have relinquished that power over to them. So we still haven't learned to take care of each other, to share everything in the world. And that's why aliens keep coming here to hopefully try to shift us a little bit, but it's not working because our governments
Yes.
and our religion are working against us to keep that power, that helpfulness away from us.
Yes.
So yeah, we're just not learning again. It's turning out to be a bad situation. So what's the cure to that, Nick? I don't know what the cure. The cure is for people, me and other people, to try to get people on board to understand why we're here and what our purpose is, and try to get things figured out. But is it working? I mean,
What do you think?
do you think it's working?
Not that much. I mean, no, it's not working.
It's not working, but we have to. That's why so many people are being woken up right now.
Yes. That's
So hopefully enough will be woken up that we can start putting a movement together and getting things straightened out. And hopefully that will happen. And that's probably going to happen within this, we got 5 more years of this crap. And it's hopefully going to come. It's what's supposed to happen is it's supposed to be like 4 to 5 years of really crap. And then maybe 2 or 3 years, or 3 to 4 years of really crap. And then 2 or 3 years of coming out of that and growing as a people. But there's also always an alternative to that. And the alternative is, instead of us standing up and taking control of things, they just have more power and control over us. And then everything just goes to crap anyway. Yeah.
What a nice outlook, Daniel.
I know, but my outlook is trying to help people,
Yes.
to change them, to get them on the correct path and stop getting on this alternative path and try to move forward and so we could share everything and take care of everybody in this world. And that's what I try to do. But and try to tell them, get away from this other egotistical bullcrap that we've been living for the past 100 years.
Yes. Daniel, would you like to tell them about your site and where they can reach you and the services you offer, so at least we get other people to see more of you?
Oh, sure. If they want to get a reading with me, they can find me at www.spiritmediumdaniel.com. It's one long word, spiritmediumdaniel.com. They can also find me on Facebook as Spirit Medium Daniel and YouTube as Spirit Medium Daniel, or they can watch our podcast. It's called Beyond the Veil with Daniel Jackson, me, and it's www.beyond-the-veil.com. And they can, what we do, we talk about all this. We talk about spirit and stuff, but we also talk about health and wellness, tarot cards, UFOs. We're going to get into UFOs here real soon. We talk about government and religious control, everything. It's just like you're trying to do, is trying to bring some truth into this world. We're trying to do the same thing, brother.
Yeah, that's why I was so pleased when you got in touch with us and I saw your content, and it's aligned. It's aligned. The same. You're saying the same things we're trying to preach.
Do you know why I got in touch with it?
You actually can tell that story if you can.
Because I was going through lists of podcasts to see. I always do that to see who is a good show for me, just to see if I look at the shows and go, oh, maybe I could talk on that show. But I only I only contact the shows that they tell me you should contact. So when I saw your show, I said, should I contact this show? And they said, yes. And I got a yes answer. And I said, okay. And then I put my information in, and I just hope that people get back to me. But I put those messages out, probably like 15 or 20 of them a week, and I only get maybe one or two back. But, yeah, the only way you can get the word out is by getting out there.
Yes. And the interesting thing there is, again, for our listeners, we're mostly Filipino. Mostly speak in Filipino. And we have maybe at the most 5 episodes that are all English. Because we sometimes get guests from other countries, but it's mostly Filipinos connecting with each other. Because, again, one of the things we noticed is a lot of Filipinos we talk to, a lot of people have their third eyes open, meaning their consciousness aware of these things. And since we are a Catholic country, most of them don't say it. They just hide it. And we find out that 3 people in their family have this. Their whole line from grandfathers to grandmothers have this, but they keep it because you're Catholic, you know that. They say immediately.
You know why they have it?
Yeah, why?
All the time? Because when you come back into this world, what we call reincarnated, you're just coming back because you don't fulfill your purpose. But when you come back into this world, every time you come back into the same family circle. That's why everybody in the family, maybe a grandfather had it. But that's why I tell people don't mess with that 23andMe or Ancestry.com stuff, because the person that you're looking up that from 100 years ago that looked a little bit like you was actually you 100 years ago. And that person, they say, oh, that person had the gift. Well, of course it did, because it was you. Because you have the gift. Because each time you come back with your soul, you have the gift. That's why they had the gift.
Do the spirit guides also carry over sometimes? Meaning spirit guides?
Sometimes, well, yeah, because sometimes you have people who come through who are also your family members from maybe a previous lifetime that they fulfilled their purpose. Because in order to be a spirit guide, you have to fulfill your purpose to do that. And then they like to come back. And sometimes one from maybe a guy who may have been your father from a previous lifetime comes back to be a spirit guide for you, to help us all, because we're all here to help each other. No matter what country divides us, no matter what the color of our skin is or religion we are, we're all connected to each other because we all came from the same place. You don't have a soul, you are a soul. What you have is this meat suit in order for you to walk around and do these physical things in this world. But when you get back to heaven, you don't just see the 200 or 300 people that you met here on earth. When you get back there, you know everybody. And I mean, everybody. They're going to recognize you by your name here, but they're also going to recognize you by all the other times you've been here and your actual soul name, which is different. Your soul's name, just like angels, we can't pronounce. The angels have the names, like Michael, yes, and Uriel, Raphael, but that's the names that we give them so that they can associate with us. But their names are more, has a more like sound, volume to it, a vibration to it. And that's what, and you're going to know that when someone's going to call you that, when you're back in heaven, you're going to go, oh yeah, it's me. And you just walk over and say hello. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you for taking the time and getting in touch with us for this.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for having me on, Nick. I appreciate it.
Bye-bye. Thanks. Thank you, Daniel, for getting in touch with us and sharing your experiences. To our listeners, if you connected with what Daniel told us here, I suggest you listen to his podcast or visit his YouTube channel. I'll post the links in the show notes. To address the joke that I didn't edit out, you could say I have some strong feelings about the Roman Catholic Church covering up all the abuses their wayward priests have done throughout the years. I suggest you look into the 2015 movie Spotlight. It focuses on the investigation of the Boston Globe into the case of widespread and systemic abuse in the Boston area by numerous Roman Catholic priests. It just so happened that when they were about to release this explosive story, 9/11 happened, and the story was buried. They were able to prove that cardinal law was made aware of the abuse, and they chose to ignore it. Take note, this wasn't just in the Boston area. I believe the Philippines was also mentioned in the movie or seen in one of the documents. The year this article came out, the CBCP or Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines acknowledged that hundreds of its priests may have been guilty of sexual misconduct, including child abuse, over the past 20 years. Can you imagine how long they have been covering it up and protecting the perpetrators? Do you think that is acceptable? I believe our listeners have a more discerning nature. Research it for yourself and find out if what was said here was true. I'm sorry if this is a bit heavy to be talking about this on all days, Christmas Day, but hey, it doesn't hurt to know. And I couldn't control the circumstances, and it came out, so it came out. Maybe this is part of the awakening process we've been hearing, opening up to the ills of the world that have been kept hidden for hundreds of years. But that's just me. If you wish to continue the discussion online, you can hop into our Discord community. We can continue our hypotheses and speculations there. A big thank you to our Patreons. Thank you, sirs and ma'am. Sunny, Pat, Jay, thank you again for all your support. Sunny, Pat, and Jay, they get our episodes a bit earlier. They also sometimes get exclusive access to some episodes depending if I have the time and I'm able to edit earlier. But thank you guys and gal for helping and supporting the podcast. If you want to share your story with us, do get in touch with us on Facebook or email us at paranormalsph@gmail.com. The Paranormal Podcast is engineered and produced by F90 Productions. If you have the time, please rate and review our show on your preferred podcast platform. If you can share it with like-minded friends, this helps us spread the word to others who might be experiencing things they cannot explain. I also heard this week that Spotify will start putting a star rating for podcasts. So if you're listening and you already have that feature, please give us a rating of your choice. Happy holidays, everyone. Thank you for listening, and please stay safe. Bigat, no? Sensya na, mga latak listeners. Napaisip kasi talaga ako if iiwan ko yung joke ni Daniel nung in-edit ko, pero naalala ko yung movie na Spotlight talaga and yung series na The Keepers sa Netflix. So, kaya parang naantig na naman yung galit ko sa ginagawang cover-up ng Roman Catholic Church. I believe, sa totoo lang, gaya ng mga kwento sa elementals, kwento sa ETs, di ba? May duality. May mabait, may masama. Hindi mo pwede sabihin na lahat sa Roman Catholic Church ay mabait. Evidence na yun sa movie na Spotlight. Kino-cover up nila. Ang nakakainis lang doon, sa tingin nyo ba, hindi alam ng Pope yun? Hindi siya na-inform about it? I doubt. Alam nila. Systemic talaga yung cover up nila. Minumove nila yung tayo. Anyway, panoorin nyo na lang kung ayaw nyo maniwala sa akin. Naiinis kayo sa akin, pasensya na. Pero hindi ko nakakalimutan ko ng joke na yun. Pero nung ini-edit ko nga, sabi ko, iiwan ko ba tong joke or hindi? Pero for me kasi, mabuting malaman ng tao, di ba? I mean, alam, parang open secret. Marami ko rin nakausap na sinabi nila, alam ko yung priest namin, ganito, ganyan. Pero, di ba? Kung yung mga child rapist nakukulong, paano pa yung mga sabihin mong pari na ganyan, di ba? So sa akin lang, kung may kasalanan, dapat may parusahan. You make your own decision as to what the situation is. I will not force my own conclusions and biases. Sinasabi ko lang, sinishare ko lang yung facts na nakuha ko, and of course, yun nga, biased ako. So, nasa sa inyo na yung kung maniniwala kayo o hindi. Kala nyo, puro joke time ang LL portion, no? Minsan, may serious rin naman. Kung napapansin nyo, hindi ko in-announce na magkakaroon ng episode nga for Christmas kasi na-realize ko medyo mabigat nga yung masasabi ko dito sa LL tsaka sa Extra. Hindi pang Christmas. Peace tayo, Jesus Christ. Pero napasok ko sa schedule and gipit sa time So, dito nag-swak yung schedule. So, yan. Sorry na lang. Dito talaga na timing. Baka may reason na ma-timing yun. Or pinilit ko rin. Hindi ko alam. Merry Christmas sa lahat sa inyo. Maraming salamat sa pakikinig. I'm hoping ma-discover nyo itong I'm hoping na pinapakinggan nyo to after Christmas na. Kasi ayun nga, medyo mabigat. Heavy guts. Kung pinapakinggan nyo to ngayong Pasko ng alas 7, alas 8, Paskong Pasko, nakikinig ka sa podcast. Ano ba yan? Pause mo na muna. Sabagay natapos mo na no? Samahan mo na ng pamilya mo. Or pasok ka sa Zoom call. Ayun, usap muna kayo ng mga kamag-anak mo. Mamaya mo na tuloy ito. Merry Christmas. I think 25 to lalabas. So, remind ko lang sa mga gusto maki-join sa December 28, 8 p.m. Magpo-post ako ng link sa Discord, Zoom link. Sa mga gusto maki-join, mag-usapan tayong yung mga mountain horror stories para mabuo ko yung mountain horror story na episode. Kasi maraming may kwento pero usually maiksi lang, di ba? So, maganda meron tayong isa't maraming iba-ibang story na maiiksi. Pero all about yung mountain horror stories. Kasi maraming namumundok na maraming kwento rin. Kanya-kanyang kwento. So, ayun. Thank you sa lahat na nakinig. Merry Christmas. Maligayang Pasko sa inyong lahat. Aba, may nakatunog. Narinig niyo ba yung clue ko last time? Ang itatawag ko sa inyo ay
Super Latak Listener.
SLL. Kung ikaw ang unang mag-message sa akin sa Discord, PM mo ko. May pa-Christmas ako, syempre Pasko. Sana, nasa Manila ka lang. Kung wala ka sa Manila, mag-adjust tayo, man. Pero yun, Merry Christmas, SLL.